What's going on, everybody? Wanted to show y'all this Massimo 550 T-Boss that I bought about 3 weeks ago. I meant to do a video on it last week, but I lost my voice and I've just got it back the last couple days. It's a nice machine, and money for money. I mean, it's compared to the other ones that I've looked at, I've been really happy with it. But I am going to talk about a couple things that I'm not happy with about this machine. Now, as I said, this is the 550 T-Boss. This is the T-Boss touchscreen. Now, when I first saw these at another dealership, I was looking at the 550F. And the 550F has a metal bed with fold down sides, and it was really cool and I really liked it. But when I started doing some research on the internet, I really couldn't find anything bad about these machines mentioned other than this metal bed. They were saying that the little clips that hold the things, everything together will, that sit right here on either side will break. The thing rattles a lot. Just some things that I really wasn't interested in, and I figured this bed here will do me fine. And that touchscreen just seemed very intriguing. So let's talk about the one thing I really hate about this machine and the thing that pisses me off about this company. So this thing is supposed to have a GPS. It's supposed to have Bluetooth. You're supposed to be able to hook your light bar up through it with this button here. You can hook up your light bar. Everything that you see on the screen, except for the time, is available on this screen. Nothing is available here that isn't available here. Now, I don't know what I would ever use it for, but this thing was advertised as having a functional GPS. And the instructions that Massimo gave me, they're actually online instructions because they didn't give me any instructions with it, show that this thing comes with a functional GPS, and you have to have a data plan in order to do upgrades or to register your service and all of that stuff. So I get this thing home, and when you hit the GPS button, it does absolutely nothing. So I'm a member of a couple forums that I joined about this thing, and everybody said that they had no problem with theirs. So I get a hold of Massimo, and I've been dealing with a guy named Chris, and he said that you have to have the data plan for this thing to work. So, and then he gave me the instructions online on how this thing functions, and it said that you have a functioning GPS, but it won't work once you after a year. So anyway, as I started looking, I noticed it didn't have an SD card in the back. I took this whole dash apart, took it out, and so I start talking to the guys on the forum. I start talking to a couple of dealers that deal in these across the country, and they said, no, that's not the way this was explained to us. They said that you can have a functioning GPS with no cost to the customer. So I called Chris at Massimo back, and I explained to him. Actually, I sent him an email, and he called me back, and he said that he had done some research on it, and what Massimo is saying is that once this thing leaves the factory, that you have GPS for 1 year, and that at the end of that 1 year, it will no longer function without a data plan. I don't know how much that data plan is. I have no use for a GPS in my side-by-side. However, my OCD it drives me crazy that this does not work. My particular dealer that I bought this from in Grapevine, they had no information on it, and I guess that's why I paid less for this than everybody else wants. I literally got this machine for $10,000 out the door. The lowest price I had seen from any other Ford dealers was was 12.8. And yeah, I gave 10 grand. So I guess it's not a loss. The Bluetooth I have not used. You have to connect your device, of course, to this, but then you also have to connect speakers. And I figured by the time I do that, I might as well just use my phone. So I just installed a little speaker up here with some bungee cords, and it seems to work fine. So I do not need this. It's got front and rear cameras. Again, a neat novelty, but this is a little bitty machine. What in the hell do you really need front and rear cameras for? Of course, without the data plan, the messages don't work, and without the data plan, being able to hook up your registration and check your services don't work either. And again, I don't know how much it is, but I'm not paying for a data plan for a side-by-side. So and then the one more thing, this little light bar here, I can't find where it hooks up. I see no connector where you can hook up lights to this, and that became irrelevant also. So I ended up buying one of these aux beams to hook up my lighting to rather than that. And I'm going to take this out. I mean, literally, everything here can be seen here, and none of the other functions are useless. So know this before you buy it. That's what you're going to get out of this touchscreen. And I think it's very shitty of Massimo. So anyway, what Massimo told me, let me back up. What Massimo told me was it's good for 1 year, but that's from the time it leaves the factory. So if this thing sits at a dealership for a year, that time is still running. Of course, this is a 2022, not a 2023. So that year ran up before I even bought it. So no GPS. So this sucks. And Massimo, you really suck for not accommodating this. And yeah, that's it. Another thing that I noticed on this thing is the headlights. This is the low beam, and you literally can only tell that they're on if you're standing right in front of it and can see the glow. The low beams are absolutely useless. The high beams, they're okay, but not great. And I went ahead and installed some LED lights. But yeah, they might as well be non-existent. I haven't had to use the winch, but I'm happy it's there. I like the four-wheel independent suspension. I have used the four-wheel drive, and I have used the front and rear lockers. It's got me out of one situation that I probably shouldn't have got myself in. Of course, the tilt bed, you know, is pretty cool. This engine, it'll run, they advertise it'll run up to 50 miles an hour on flat ground, 40 tops. Which is plenty fast for me. I generally drive it around 18 to 22 miles an hour on the street and keep it in low in the field. They also claim this thing has a CVT transmission, but I don't think so. I think it's got some kind of centrifugal clutch because this thing feels very go-kart-esque the way it goes. This thing as being comparable, I believe, to the Polaris Ranger. I have never driven a Polaris Ranger, but I had a buddy of mine out here who does have one, and he says this one rides a lot smoother than that. I don't know. I've never done it, but he says this machine is smoother than his Polaris Ranger. So great. I think it's a pretty rough ride, but it is not bad for what you're getting. I know it's nothing compared to my buddy's John Deere Gators. He's got two of them things over here, and you could rip across this field just wide open and hardly feel it at all. You head across this thing wide open, it's going to beat you to death. The seats are very uncomfortable. Just any length of time in them. They're very straight up, kind of look like you're in a high school football stadium. But I mean, money for money, I just don't think you can go wrong with one of these things. Just don't get the touchscreen. Don't get the touchscreen. Massimo, you're really shitty for not taking care of this, and that's a shitty plan. Who the hell needs GPS and a data plan on an ATV? So anyway, just be aware of what you're getting, because your dealer may not be honest with you. It's not that they're not maybe honest, but maybe Massimo's not honest with them. Something's up. I'd buy it again. I would. I just wouldn't get the touchscreen. Take care.